Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News, and wow, what a 24 hours in the Valorant world. So much roster news to dive into today, and the Masters begins later on today as well. So a crazy busy time in the Valorant world. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Getting like 400 odd subs the last couple of days. Really appreciate the growth, guys. Let's dive straight into things. Firstly, this. Yesterday we discussed the fact that Jett and maybe Sova just around the corner getting a significant nerf, of course. Now, seemingly, the North American VCT Open qualifiers that begin on the 28th of April, to my understanding, they are going to be played on the current patch. This makes sense. Of course, it's going to take some time to adapt to the Jett changes, so they've decided that the first and second NA of Open qualifiers are going to be played on the current patch with Jett as she currently is. After that, though, when the teams are confirmed to get to the group stages, then they will play on the new patch update. So I think this is going to be a welcome news, really, for a lot of these teams. Have enough to focus on already, as opposed to getting used to the new patch that's coming through seemingly relatively soon for Jett. But 4.07 is still the current one, which does make sense. This also just to mention, because later on today, PaperX's Forsaken will be back in business again, playing in the VCT Masters in Reykjavik. But still, he's actually said he's open to North American and European Valorant moves potentially in the future. Certainly a name that's caused a lot of a stir over these last couple of weeks, really, in the VCT Masters. And to my understanding, the contracts and the salaries are very different in APAC as they are to North America and Europe. So he could probably make a lot more money if he played in another region. And seemingly he is keeping his options open on that front. Of course, fantastic player in this tournament. They could even make a further run than they are. I guess they're favourites later on today getting Zeta division to make it all the way to top 3. But still, teams could change around if teams want to make moves, as teams certainly are right now. Forsaken could be an option in regions other than just his home region at the present time. Let's dive into this then, right? Because of course, with the Open qualifiers coming up, a lot of these teams are having to put their rosters on the Battlefy website to show exactly who they're going to be fielding. Now, seemingly, Wardell has been spotted with version 1. Whippy is also still here, but due to potential visa complications, lots of people expect Wardell to be a feature of this team, at least for the near future. So Wardell version 1 may well be a thing, and certainly something to keep your eyes on. So interesting stuff. Decent chance this actually goes through and they have to play with him in these upcoming tournaments and matches. This also from Evil Geniuses as well. Com and Apoth joining their starting roster. But yeah, certainly not the main roster move of the day. This also was going to be a bigger kind of part of this video, but I have to trim it down really because there's so much else that has happened. But there was kind of some comments that came out a few days ago. Of course, you guys know about when TenZ was bought out, right? Like he went out, of course, to 2 Sentinels from Cloud1. They trialed him out for a little bit, paid in the region of like $1.25 million. Supposedly, he was offered to 100 Thieves for in the region of 2 to 3 mil. Like, that's crazy numbers. Nadeshot reckons the most egregious thing that I ever came across in esports history. Supposedly, 100 Thieves offered Cloud9 about $1 million for TenZ, and they'd initially said, look, we want to sell him for 3 mil. Then they came down to 2 mil, and then, of course, 100 Thieves like, hang on a second, it's pretty ridiculous. And I guess maybe Cloud9 were thinking, look, no one's really going to pay that. But Sentinels, after doing the trial, they were willing to obviously pay a massive buyout for TenZ, which of course, paid off in spades for them, right? But yeah, kind of crazy stuff. The 100 Thieves could have got TenZ if they really got the pockets open, which maybe wouldn't have worked out for them, but maybe it would, right? Who knows? We will speak more about Sentinels here in just a couple of minutes. We've got to talk about NRG. And look, a few days ago, I'm not going to say I called this, but I did kind of call it, to be honest. Like, I was talking about Ethan, where he could go, and my first kind of thought really was NRG, right? Because it's a team that they underperformed expectations, I guess, at least their expectations during stage 1 challenges, but they still looked like a very promising squad. We'll look at their stats here in a second, and their performances through that kind of first cycle. They went 1 in 4, but their map count was very impressive. They went game 3 with a load of different teams. Feels like they just need a small upgrade to take that team to the next level, and they were improving pretty rapidly. So NRG Ethan is a thing once again. Of course, Ethan's history with this organization back in the Counter-Strike days are like crazy, really. This didn't get leaked ahead of time. Often, moves like this, especially with George Geddes and Purist and the like, they hear things before this gets confirmed. I imagine this has been a discussion for a few days at this point, and it comes pretty much out of nowhere that Ethan, yes, he is returning to NRG as an organization now on their Valorant roster. After effectively deciding to leave 100 Thieves, he kind of saw the roster that 100 Thieves were building, not feeling overwhelmingly confident in the team, and of course, look, they're not automatically qualified, as of course are NRG either, but still, they're going to have to battle through these open qualifiers to qualify anyway, right? So, going to be exciting if these two teams ever match up, which there's a decent chance it might happen at some point or another. As Ethan says, excited to be back, confident in this squad, can't wait to get to work. Zombs has a few interesting comments. We'll talk about Zombs here in a second. Wish things worked out, bro. Like, I wanted to play with you. No, you'll kill it at NRG. Because there was some talk about Sentinels, Ethan, whether that could have been a thing. Apparently, there were some very brief talks between the two parties, which, didn't really go anywhere, to be honest. And they seem to have another 5th player that we'll see here in a second. So, craziness, honestly, in the rostermania world. This also, of course, because Android is the one getting let go effectively. Really tough for Android. Always seems to be the sacrificial lamb in these instances. and as he says, I'll no longer be playing for NRG as I've been moved to the bench. Pretty devastated from this, understand their decision. Wish nothing but the best to all the guys, but yeah, really tough spot for him, and even Hayes says, of course, the IGL of the roster. Just wanted to say I feel terrible about the timing of this roster move. Basically means that Android has no chance to play this VCT. Nothing I can say will make that better, but you know, look, when a guy like Ethan comes on the market, you're not going to turn down the opportunity to upgrade your roster in this way. So we shall see if it works out for them. Wanted to talk about this NRG team, right, because the role right now is somewhat unclear. The team is Hazed, EU, Som, Texan, Ethan right now, but you know, Android kind of, as described right here, fielded more of a controller, Sentinel type role. Ethan has kind of done an awful lot really for 100 Thieves, initiator Sentinel. He was even the IGL towards the end of his tenure there, also done smokes. So there's a lot of things they can do with this roster and the roles on the roster, but you know, there's all sorts of potential here, and I think that Ethan is a really awesome upgrade for this team. And I just wanted to show you guys this. So this was their stage 1 challengers groups, and they go 1 in 4 here, NRG, and it obviously doesn't seem too impressive. But if you look at their round count, their round differential, they were only minus 14 in round count despite being 1 in 4. Sentinels were minus 6 in round count, and they were 3 in 2, and they qualified. As did Knights right at 2 in 3 with a minus 25 round count. So I feel like NRG were very close to getting to the playoffs here, and they were very close to beating some very good teams. Like if you look at their results, they lost 2-1 to Edsa Sentinels right here with their first game. They then lost 2-0 to Optic, of course, the team that's now looking like they might well go on a run to win Masters. We'll see that match in a few minutes' time. They then lost 2-1 to Version 1, the team that went 5-0 in the stage. Then, of course, they lost to Knights 2-1 as well. Then they 2-0'd Rise for their only victory. So I think they had some very impressive results, and the whole 1 in 4 number kind of, you know, underrated them to a degree. So I feel like an upgrade like this could get them over the line to the point where they're starting to win these series 2-1 as opposed to losing them, and that's going to make a major difference if this team wants to become one of the best in North America. So crazy stuff. Just to mention this actually real quick, I believe there was a clip that came out from Ethan's stream that was since deleted, where he basically said, look, there were some talks going on with him and Sentinels, didn't really get all that far though, but again, we've got to talk about Sentinels, because Sentinels is now registered with Kanpeki and Zombs for the Stage 2 Open qualifier. We talked about the version 1 Wardell thing, but yes, Kanpeki, player right now for a crew, might well be the 5th player that Sentinels are bringing in. This is quite remarkable if this is the case, because not long ago, we talked about Sinatraa, and the fact that he was trialing with the Sentinels starting team, potentially instead of Zombs. They might change around the roles. Kanpeki, seemingly a very flexible player, but this is pretty crazy stuff, and it's pretty much come out of nowhere, to be honest. So this is what was discussed last night with George Getters as well. Their lineup should be, or at least could be, ShahZaM, TenZ, Sick, dapr, and Kanpeki. So Zombs gone, Kanpeki in is a likely possibility right now, which, you know, that's kind of out of nowhere, to be honest. We thought it might be like a Sinatraa instead. These guys obviously also going to have to play through the open qualifiers if they want to get back through to stage 2. No guarantees, of course, this move goes through, but yes, Zombs may well be gone. That's kind of what's been expected anyway, that Sinatraa was potentially going to come back for Zombs, and if this move isn't completed, then of course, well, seemingly Kanpeki now is going to be the man from a crew to come into lineup. So crazy stuff. Zombs is still kind of registered for the team, largely I think because like if the Kanpeki thing doesn't work out, or if they need an emergency substitute, it's good to have another player in there they can sub in instead. But yeah, Zombs, it seemed for quite some time now, the last few weeks, he's probably going to be gone. The replacement though in Kanpeki is a big surprise to a lot of people. Supposedly the deal is set to be completed pretty soon. They seem to be pretty excited about this one. Like Sinatraa, you'd have thought could have worked out, and maybe they played with him in practice, they didn't really like how it was fitting, or like maybe just that the further discussions over the last few days about the whole Sinatraa situation have kind of, well, caused a halt to that, at least for now. I do still feel like at some point some team will give Sinatraa a go, but it might well not be yet, and even Zombs replies to this with just a straight up what in full caps, but you know, I imagine he knows what might be going on at this point. So crazy stuff. Even Kanpeki kind of drops the eyes emoji in the reply. So interesting if they've scouted this player, because I don't even believe they have like a coach right now to replace Raucus with. So I must say it's kind of weird what's going on with Sentinels. Like unless Kanpeki's magically going to be the coach or something, which it doesn't seem particularly likely either, then it's tough to say what the future is going to be here. So very much intrigued to get a perspective on this in the comment section below. Very tough to call. I'm not particularly familiar with Kanpeki. I looked at his agents. He plays a fair bit of Chamber, but also KO and Sky and these type of agents. So very versatile player. Maybe just what Sentinels feel like they need, but you know, still there's a lot of these teams trying to upgrade, and it's unclear if this is really going to take them too much in the right direction. We shall see, of course, if this even goes through. We've got to talk also real quick before we discuss Masters. The Knights Gauntlet that went down last night. Champions were confirmed in Ghost Gaming of all teams. But yes, there was the matchup between TSM and the TSM Academy. TSM did just about get over the line there. They won the series 2-1. If they'd lost it, that would you know, there'd have been a lot of drama on the tunnel and juicy stuff, I'm sure, no doubt. They did win it in the end though, I think, after losing the game 1. Also, 100 Thieves, they lost to Knights. Of course, Knights, a team that did, of course, at last stage, they were in the challenges. They lose 2-1 here, the 100 Thieves guys. There was some talk about, okay, you know, they're going to boot camp coming soon. I think they looked better than maybe they expected to look. And they've got a boot camp just around the corner as well, where all the players are going to be in the same place playing together. They should probably improve pretty drastically in that type of situation ahead of course, keeping that boot camp for the open qualifiers coming very soon indeed. So, decent performance from 100 Thieves. They made it through their group. They made it through round 1. But so, yeah, falling tonight, maybe not the tournament they were hoping for, but certainly other players and teams falling also. TSM also with a 2-0 victory here over FaZe. 7, of course, right now playing in their roster. They seem to have moved significantly in the right direction. They made it all the way to the grand finals right here, eventually falling short. But fair play to TSM because they made some changes. They're bringing people out to Texas, right, doing a kind of boot camp thing the 100 Thieves are planning to do. They made it all the way to the grand finals. Suppose reckons they ran out of gas. But yeah, certainly some of the more promising teams. But Ghost Gaming win the entire thing. So this was the bracket at the end of it. FaZe got defeated 2-0 by TSM. TSM lost to Ghost 2-0 in the finals. And Ghost made a great run, losing 0 maps all the way in their run to winning the grand finals. 100 Thieves lose right here tonight, as you can see at the bottom. And other teams to mention as well, TSM Akanu. But yeah, fair play to TSM, right? They made it to the grand finals. But so many teams improving drastically ahead of what's going to be an absolute gauntlet of a North American Open qualifier coming very soon. But also we have to talk about the fact that Masters begins once again today. So a few days off, but now it's the final weekend effectively of the VCT Masters in Reykjavik. And Optic play later on today. All the teams play later on today. This is the bracket. So Loud versus Optic, the upper finals. The winner of this game goes to the grand finals guaranteed. And I don't really know how to call it. I think it's going to go game 3. I might even take Loud 2-1 here actually. It's really tough to say. And then Zeta versus PaperX. Both of these teams, I want both of these teams to win, to be honest. PaperX play unbelievable Valorant. Like at Zeta, they have the craziest story. I do wonder if this Cinderella story can continue on for so long. I'm going to predict PaperX because I feel like I've always predicted against Zeta and they always somehow win. So I'm going to continue that trend and hope it happens again. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tell us your YouTube gods this is a good video. I'd also like you should see it as well. And hope grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you much as always. Take care of yourselves and I will see you next time.